Interior, Hospital ICU. The NFL season is at the quarter pole. Football diehard Jonathan Zaslow is waking up from a Labor Day coma.
How long have I been out?
You've been down for 4 weeks, sir.
What'd I miss?
So much. First, Jimmy Kimmel got canceled, but then they brought him back.
No. I mean, like in football.
Oh, okay. Well, first, Jalen Carter spit on Dak Prescott, but then...
All right, hold on. Can we speed in this? Like, I haven't eaten in a month.
Okay, well, Cliff's notes. The Colts might be good at football thanks to Daniel Dimes. The Baltimore Ravens are 1-3. Kickers now make 69-yard field goals every single game. But then again, a lot of the kicks are getting blocked. And the Eagles are undefeated, and they're going to be the number 1 seed, even though they throw the ball about as much as a mid-'80s Oklahoma team. But that's just the start. Let's start the show, shall we?
Great. Can somebody order me some Thai food?
Not a bad idea. Better than eating Tylenol, that's for sure. Let's go. A 40-40 tie? Weird times in the NFL. Hi and hello. Geoff Schwartz and Jonathan Zaslow coming up. Bradley's in New York. The Fuentes brothers have the con in Miami. Your old pal Dave here in L.A. Welcome to Football America. We are presented as ever by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Subscribe, would you? Like I say, welcome to episode 12. And like we do every show, we honor the person who wore that jersey number best in pro football history. Let's figure that out and much more with the man. Big news for him on the Le Batard Show breaking on Monday. The Zaslow Show 2.0, Monday through Friday, now a part officially of the Le Batard Network. Congratulations to you, Jonathan Zaslow.
Thank you.
Also
we're officially co-workers now. You're my co-worker, Dave.
I kind of felt like we were anyway, but also out on the road, ESPN radio on his college football tailgate tour. You hear him being a big star with Dan and the rest of the fellas in there. Let's start there, Jonathan. We have a lot to get to here. I guess before we do 12s even, because that's that foolish little thing we did at the top there with you in a coma. What is your big takeaway 4 weeks into the NFL season? What if you had to tell somebody, what did I miss? What's the one thing you would impart?
I would look at yesterday's game between the Chiefs and Ravens as like the most interesting thing going on in the league right now, because up until yesterday, I was ready to tell you, Chiefs stink. That's not a very good football team. And I understand Xavier Worthy was going to return, and at some point Rashee Rice is going to return as well. But, man, like those aren't superstar receivers. But then the Chiefs yesterday, it's like, yeah, they don't have to be superstar receivers. You just need some competence there because you have Patrick Mahomes. So I think we're all a little bit too early, myself included, to dance on the grave of the Chiefs. And you know what? Maybe the Ravens are not that good. Because week number 1, when the Ravens lost to the Bills, it was like, all right, you know what? Just because Derrick Henry fumbled the football doesn't mean that the Ravens are not an elite team, because I know what I was watching for most of that game. But they're 1-3. Like, this Ravens team, they don't defend. They may not be very good. To me, those two teams, maybe the most interesting part.
Well, decimated by injury are the Ravens, and you can asterisk that if you want, but the injuries do count and are a part of the football season. So, okay, Geoff Schwartz coming up with points per game. We'll do that in just a few minutes. In the meantime, like I started out with here, and also the jerk list with Zaslow and the fellas coming up too, but let's cover it. The jersey number 12, spoiler alert, you don't have to have much of a conversation about this one. Clearly, it is Tom Brady, the greatest player in the history of football, the greatest player in the history of people. But beyond that, Zaslow, who in your book gets the award as the second greatest number 12 in NFL history?
Whoa, second greatest number 12?
I can give you some names if you're stuck.
Please.
Well, you have the greatest quarterback in NFL history up through, let's say, 1982. That would be Terry Bradshaw, those 4 Lombardis. Okay. And he gets that honor over Roger Staubach because he vanquished Roger Staubach and the Cowboys in not 1 but 2 Super Bowls. You also have Aaron Rodgers, not anymore, but his old team he wore number 12 there when he was a Green Bay Packers. Snake Stabler, Bob Greasy, Jim Kelly. Chris Olave is maybe the best going right now.
So weird, because you got great quarterbacks, and I was just at a wide receiver. Dave, I don't like how, and I know wide receivers have been wearing numbers in the teens for a long time now, but everyone can wear like every number now. I hate it.
I'm okay with it. There's a lot going on in the world, and I can get caught up. And this is a great candidate, as a matter of fact, for the jerk list. I think the correct answer here is, call me biased, and that's because I am biased, but I am going with Terry Bradshaw.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll go Bradshaw. I'm with you there. That's fine with me.
What about the 12th man? What about the 12th man? Seattle Seahawks. They caused an entire earthquake.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
The 12th man.
Yeah.
Definitely worthy of a shout out there, Bradley, the resident Seahawks fan.
Just trying to get some Northwest fan. Some Northwest love.
That's fine. Oh, big one coming up to the Pacific Northwest named the Indiana Hoosiers in a couple of weeks. I don't know if Zaslow's going to take the road trip out there. That would be a good one to make, though. That's for sure. One more thing before we get into the jerk list here, Zaslow. I know bad news for you as a Florida-based sports fan. Sasha Barkov lost to the season, at least the regular season, probably the postseason too. Kachuk down as well. Things ain't looking great for the two-time defending world champions, the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. I want to float something to you.
Yeah.
Because I know you're down in the dumps.
Yeah.
Let's try to make things right on both sides.
Okay.
The Steelers are probably going to be without their number 2 wide receiver, Calvin Austin, for a little while. Spoiler, reminder, they should have kept George Pickens. I've said that endlessly, and he proved it again on Sunday Night Football. Either way, let's fix this. Sportstown GM Dave, representing Pittsburgh, offers to Miami sports fan Zaslow Gino Malkin, a former an MVP, scoring champion, 3-time Stanley Cup champion, would slot right in there on the second line as your center iceman for Jalen Waddle. How say you?
Oh, well, I love this because we've been through this before where we could trade from league to league, all right? So I like that.
Right.
That's a good callback by you, Dave. And you're talking to someone here who right now on my local rankings, as far as my favorite teams, the Panthers are so much higher for me than the Dolphins these days. So I'm making that trade. Give me Evgeny Malkin. I'll give you Jalen Waddle. I'm trying for a three-peat here. That never happens with the Stanley Cup. Let's do it, Dave. I'm ready.
All right, I just want to get sign off from your partners there, the Fuentes brothers. Are you guys cool with this deal? You're going to give up Jalen Waddle, but you do get a vet who knows how to win in big spots on the sheet ice.
Zaz is right, man. We're going for a three-peat. That's never happened before. We got to get the three-peat. Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, the Dolphins are going nowhere, and I have Tyreek Hill. I don't need Tyreek Hill light.
Good point.
Okay. Done and done. The Steelers are a little bit better. The Panthers are a little bit better. We're all better for it. And now that you're warmed up, Gino and Mike, let's get into this week's jerk list, shall we?
You're a jerk.
All right, I'll get us started here. A.D. Mitchell should never see the field again.
Did you see this one, Zaslow?
Yeah.
I assume you did. I assume all football fans did. The Colts kind of sort of on the cusp of putting away the L.A. Rams in SoFi Stadium. A.D. Mitchell is running for a touchdown at the end of a spectacular individual effort, by the way, up the left sideline. But like so many others before him, drops the ball just before he crosses the goal line. Zaslow, how say you?
Yeah, I mean, he's a jerk. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm
Why do we keep doing this?
I mean, I'm livid. Yeah, how are we still doing this? How did we not stop dropping the football? And I know we kind of slipped or whatever it was. How did we not stop dropping the football before the goal line the first time that Deshaun Jackson did it? We have so many instances since then. I don't get it.
It's this back-to-back seasons for the Colts, I think, too. Didn't Jonathan Taylor do this last year?
That sounds right now that you mention
yes.
it. Mike, I consider you, this is damning with faint praise given the group that you're surrounded by, but I consider you probably the hippest of this conversation right now.
You haven't seen his shoes.
What is the upside? What is the upside of this? I mean, I hate to be a curmudgeon. I hate to get up on Mount Pius about it. Have your fun, celebrate. Even Bill Belichick used to say, if you get into the end zone, that's hard to do as a pro football player. You should rejoice. You're a human being after all. What is the upside to starting your celebration before you cross the goal line? I don't get it.
So, see, other guys were trying to celebrate, right? Deshaun Jackson's like, I'm about to get in the end zone. He looked like he was trying to taunt the guys that he had gotten away from, and in the process of doing that, he ends up looking like an ass. He also had a terrible holding penalty that cost him a Jonathan Taylor touchdown in that game, if I remember correctly. So 2 times a jerk in that game.
Okay, but what's the answer to the upside to it, aesthetically or otherwise? Like, what is the virtue of like, hey, I'm so sure I'm scoring a touchdown that I'm not even going to wait to get into the end zone.
Dave, you don't imagine that there's
celebration. How many times do we have to see the guy drop the ball? This is not worth the potential bang that you get out of it, that costing your team a game. And by the way, humiliating yourself in the process.
Dave, you don't imagine that there's a group of cool kids who see the player run into the end zone and they're saying, whoa, you see how soon after he crossed the goal line, he dropped the ball and began his celebration? It was like a millisecond. That was amazing.
You know what else is crazy, Zaz? Is the guy who, when a guy is breaking away from the guys trying to tackle him, you see this a lot on punt and kickoff returns, is his teammate running alongside of him, and then he turns around to like raise a finger up to the sideline or to the crowds or otherwise, thereby allowing the guy pursuing him to maybe catch up a little bit. This is another one. If I were a head coach, again, have your fun, guys. Enjoy yourself. If you drop the ball before you get into before you cross the goal line, that is a 1-month suspension. You do not touch the field for my team if you drop the ball and cost us a touchdown. All right, next up, Mike.
So is he a jerk or not?
Oh, I thought that we had established that at the top. Zaz has the honors.
I spoke
here,
for everyone.
Mike,
Okay, then we got to blast him.
you're a jerk.
All right. So Gus Johnson is overrated.
Here's Valentine. He lost it. Who wants it? Oh my goodness! In the end zone. USC has the football. Holy Chicago!
I mean, I could do that. I mean, I don't get the Gus Johnson thing. I'm immune to his charms. I liked him on college basketball 15, 20 years or so ago, but it's overdone in this breaking voice thing, shrieking like a drunk person next to me at the big game is unsatisfying to me. Zaz, how say you?
Dave, I got to tell you, I'm so glad to hear you say that because I feel like forever I've been on an island on my own when it comes to Gus Johnson. It doesn't do anything for me. It's too performative. I don't want to be watching the basketball game and a layup in the second quarter sounds the same as the buzzer beater at the end of the game. I don't get the Gus Johnson deal. It's not for me. It's too much. I'm not into it.
One I'm going to jam in here real quick. Forgive me, Gino and Mike, for stealing the spotlight, but Patrick Mahomes reminded everybody that he's still Patrick Mahomes. He reminded the Ravens on Sunday. Shohei Ohtani hit his personal best 55th home run for the Dodgers. You have McJesus out there. Sidney Crosby maybe in the conversation for the best you've ever seen. And LeBron is in the conversation for best basketball player of all time, but I feel like maybe that ship has sailed. Anyway, the question is, Zaz, how close are we to witnessing right now the best individual player in the 4 major sports right here and now?
All at the same time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I think Ohtani definitely is. And if Mahomes had won that Super Bowl, which he didn't, if he had, that would be settled hash too. We would all be talking about Mahomes as the best we've ever seen. And now we're getting fairly close to the correct answer that right now is the greatest collection of high-end stars that people have ever seen.
So you got LeBron, you got Messi, and so what are we doing for?
Well, we got late stage LeBron, late stage Messi.
Okay,
which is still pretty good.
But still, it's still
pretty good.
arguably the greatest player of all time who is still active. So that's okay.
Makes sense.
And what are we doing for hockey then?
I'm biased again, but I will sincerely say Kid Crosby.
I think that's where we're coming up short.
Jesus.
That's where we come up short. Yeah. I mean, look, Crosby's great. Dave, nobody's saying Crosby's the greatest of all time. Come on.
I mean, I just kind of uttered that. Okay, let's not get bogged down by
Still
that. It's
firmly
a hot
Gretzky,
take, perhaps.
I believe, yeah.
So I get the blaster as the bottom line here?
Yeah, the big one, too.
Nuclear.
Wow.
I'll take it. As a man of honor, I have to stand up for black and gold. Black and gold over even red, white, and blue. Next up.
Ben Johnson did a good job responding to the field reporter.
establish our identity here in the second half.
So you need to change what you're doing.
I don't know. You think so?
Aditi Kinkabwala putting Ben Johnson on the spot there in Vegas. Zaz, what was your takeaway from this?
I'm a little conflicted here because normally I like to side with the media member, all right? As long as they're not being rude, I like to side with, hey, we're asking questions. Just answer the question. No big deal. But also, I know it's halftime. We're in the middle of the game. Does the coach want to be questioned in the middle of the game if he needs to change strategies by someone who's not on his team? I don't know. I mean, he gave her the death stare. I'm a little conflicted on it, Dave. I got to be honest.
All right. You know what? I'm going to provide an unsatisfying, incomplete answer myself here because, yes, she put him on the spot, and he responded. He could have. I mean, I guess my thought is, what would Greg Popovich have done? You know, that would have been much, much worse if you said that to the wrong coach. Ben Johnson kind of handled it, but he seemed pretty annoyed.
Yeah.
Then again, the generally speaking, those halftime interviews, hey, where are you? How's this make you feel? Basically, what does this mean to your team? Kind of thing is vapid stuff. This at least kind of put him on the spot. I don't know to what end, though. What was she hoping he would say? Like, yeah, we suck. You're right, Aditi. Matter of fact, I quit. Here's the headset. You do the second half. I'm not sure what the upshot was or what the upside of that question was for Aditi, but at least it wasn't a completely forgettable moment there.
I'm going no jerk. I'm going no jerk there.
No jerk? Okay,
no jerk.
We're going to let Aditi go on this one. So be it.
Yeah.
Let's move on then. Gino. Or Mike.
So we let him go. So
that's us letting us go.
Yeah,
you know
we let
what?
him go. So,
I'm squeezing another one in here. It's college football. I'm sorry, Gino. Before you go, Coach
Mike
Siggs, Indiana Hoosiers, top 10 team now. Why they're rated behind a team behind Penn State, who lost the game at home right before our eyes. Indiana is undefeated, and yet they're ranked behind the Nittany Lions. Either way, the worst bad beat maybe that I've ever seen in a big game. The Indiana Hoosiers appear to be on the cusp of surviving the game. Iowa Hawkeyes in Iowa City. Fernando Mendoza, a nails play to give them a 20 or 13 lead. They have the ball in the final seconds of the game. The Hoosiers are laying 6.5 in this game. Fernando Mendoza takes the snap and runs half the field out of the back of the end zone. And then Fernando Mendoza explains it this way.
I know I probably, obviously shouldn't be saying this, but I know I probably cooked people's spreads and stuff like that. And I really apologize for that. However, in that moment, my goal was to win the game.
Wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being the starting quarterback in 2026 of your Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll see if that ends up happening. In the meantime, Zaz, what do you make of the Heisman frontrunner talking about point spreads and such? And before you even get to that, the wisdom of running the ball all the way out of the back of the end zone to finish 2015. I failed to pay that off, so they had the cover until he hung 2 points on his own team right at the buzzer there.
Yeah, so that was my biggest takeaway was, you didn't need to do all that.
This didn't seem fishy to anyone else.
And forget about the point spread. It's just how about you kind of jeopardize your team in that spot because, I don't know, what if when you ran into the end zone, you accidentally fumbled it or something? You know, you could have just took a knee by that point at the 15 or the 10. The clock had long run out or run out of bounds with it. It didn't make any sense.
Boy, it's really interesting if you reverse the order of A.D. Mitchell representing the Hoosier State and Fernando Mendoza. You would have been on the edge of your seat as a Hoosier fan watching him run backwards. What are you doing? Didn't you just see what happened to A.D. Mitchell, man? The things can go bad that way. That's exactly right. He could have really dropped the ball, and then who knows? If a Hawkeye catches him from behind and punches that ball out? Who knows how that ended up? That was terrible. But Gino, you're taking it to the next level, eh?
It seemed pretty fishy to me. It looked like he made a beeline for the end zone. He meant to go back there and kneel it down in the end zone. Maybe that's just what I was, my sinister brain. That's what I saw. But
if I remember correctly, he was on the 1 or 2 yard line and the clock was at 0. He could have just gone down.
Yeah, of course.
And in college, you're not going to get hit once you're down. You're in total control.
I don't want to accuse the kid of anything, but
I'm just saying.
I saw it. It looked weird.
I seen it. All right, I saw it.
I saw it too, and I don't think a 21-year-old kid has that going on in his brain. But then again, it's probably not the smartest thing in the world to sit down in front of microphones and start talking about point spreads and such. Not that he's up to anything. It's maybe a bad look with everybody up on Mount Pius these days. All right, next up, Gino.
It's me, actually. The MetLife turf is ruining more careers. Wait a minute. Jerk or no jerk? We didn't decide. We're just skipping right over that.
I'm going jerk. I'm going jerk in that spot. Even though he's local, he's Miami. We like him. I'm going jerk.
Dave?
I'll allow it. I'm up on cloud nine. You do what you want to do with your earthbound blaster and everything. I'm riding high. The Indiana Hoosiers are undefeated. They're going to the playoff again this year.
A big jerk. MetLife turf is ruining careers.
Zaz, how say you? We lose another one, Malik Neighbors. It ruins pretty much, I think. I don't think it's an overstatement to say it spoils what would otherwise have been a celebration for the Jackson Dart debut. But now, how far can this team go? How good can even Jackson Dart be the rest of the season without this world-class wide receiver in his sophomore year, and Neighbors now down with the torn ACL?
I'm pretty sure Dolphins edge rusher Jalen Phillips got hurt in the game last year at MetLife Stadium against the Jets. Yeah, like this stakes not even because, okay, without Malik Neighbors, the team obviously doesn't have a chance at putting anything together this season, but you wanted to at least be able to see a full even if you're losing games, at least give me Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors combo that I could watch every week if I'm a Giants fan, so it's a massive bummer.
It really is, and now I'm curious what Gino and Mike think, because I saw, who was it, Mike talking about that they have to replace that in time for the World Cup. What about replacing it in time for the NFL season in 2025? Yeah. Another career damaged at minimum, and what appeared to be a bright future. They do a good job of fixing up ACLs in a way that they didn't 25 years ago, but nevertheless, this shuts down Malik Neighbors, and as you say, this is just the latest. And you also skipped over, Zaz, Aaron Rodgers. Who knows that the what if the MetLife turf doesn't claim Aaron Rodgers 2 years ago? Who knows where that cat would be playing right now? Who knows what the Jets would have done 2 years ago even, right?
Yeah. Instead, the only moment we have from the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers was literally that game, running out of the tunnel with the flag, which was really cool.
Or funny in hindsight, either way. Hey, Zaz, you're the tops. Really happy to hear the big news with Zaslow Show 2.0, Monday through Friday, now a part of the Le Batard Network proper. But I feel like from a great distance over here in Southern California, you were already in full embrace with Dan and everybody else. Keep killing it on the big show. Keep killing it on Zaslow Show 2.0 and on the college football road trip. All the rest of it. Let's talk sooner rather than later. All right, fella?
Thanks, Dave, and I appreciate all the football Americans.
Well, the shorts on the Football America YouTube page are setting the world ablaze. They're red hot over there. Make sure you're checking those out, as well as the full episodes of Geoff Schwartz is Smarter Than You. Like I say, now available on the Football America YouTube page and beyond. It's great stuff. No wonder it is our pal, Geoff Schwartz. What's happening, fella? I have a lot of different directions to go. I know you're feeling real good after what happened over there in central Pennsylvania, but I have to start with the fact that you cursed my Colts. You took to Twitter in the middle of that game and floated the rhetorical question, are the Colts the best team in pro football? And then A.D. Mitchell fumbled, and then Stafford caught fire, and now there's a strike in the loss column for my Colts. How say you?
I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I knew exactly what I was doing. Yeah. I had the Rams minus 3.5. I knew what I was doing. Good to see you again, Dave. Indiana, Oregon has now been scheduled 3:30 Eastern, CBS Sports, 2 weeks from now, 13 days from now. I cannot wait for that top 10 matchup between Indiana. Who would have thought what was that year? 2004, 21 years ago, we get to Oregon, Indiana playing again, and they're both in the top 10. And we'll preview that game next week, I would imagine.
We will. Well, let's put a pin in that one, because we have a full week to meditate on that one. But you know what? Let's pick up on Saturday night against Penn State. James Franklin does it again. What is he now? 4-21, 4-23 lifetime? That's bad.
Yeah, 4-21, I think, yeah.
where do you come down? What if you were a booster at Penn State at this point? Would you be calling for that? Because, as they always say, what's waiting in the wings? If you move on from James Franklin, you better have a banner hire who is going to get you over the hump. But this has to be pretty vexing stuff when it's all under James Franklin's watch at this point.
Okay, so this is what I think about this, right? You mentioned the most important thing. When you fire someone, you better hire someone better, right? Like, that's the goal, of course, right? And,
or even know it before you fire the guy. You have to know where you're going almost, no?
I think you do. And of course, there's back channels of that, right? I mean, one agent represents like 75% of these coaches. And so they'll get a good understanding maybe of where this would go. But here's the thing. You don't win the big one until you do. Ryan Day couldn't win the big one, and then he did, right? Dan Lanning, only his fourth year, couldn't win a big road game, and then he went to the big road game. Like, you eventually do, I think, right? Kirby, Harbaugh, like these guys, like Harbaugh could never win the big, then he went to championship. Like, you eventually do it. Now, he might never eventually do it, but like, you watch that game, I'm sure I did, same as I did, right? What was the one moment where you're like, that's coaching? There were no zero moments like that. There were zero moments where it was like, that's James Franklin's fault. He punted one time. I thought he probably should have gone for it. But other than that, the problem is he probably chose the wrong quarterback. Prbula in Missouri is doing great. Aller, I think, is limited. But then again, here's where I think the issue to me, what I see, is that when they were down 17-3, they came out with a brand new offense. Why don't you start with that offense? Why don't you start with the good plays? And don't save them for. We've seen it in the playoffs. We saw it against Oregon. Like, they wait to save the good. Start with the good plays. Start with those plays. Dave, do you know so the first play against Villanova was a fly sweep shovel pass, right? We've seen the Chiefs perfect this inside the 5-yard line for 0 yards now for 15 years in a row. They ran the exact same play week 1 against Oregon. Play 1 against Oregon. Fly sweep. They were the same play. They started the game with the same play 2 games in a row. Like, that type of stuff, again, is it Franklin's fault? I don't know. Well, I did find it interesting. I will not say that I watch a ton of Penn State games all the time, but James Franklin was holding a play sheet the entire game. Really, the second half of that game, if you noticed, he was holding the offensive play sheet. He was looking at it. I don't know if he was calling plays, but that's actually not common for him. He's not a guy, he doesn't call plays. And for him to be that involved in the offense, so that's why I think if you were to grade him, it's that the offense was this is not a functional offense. It's not an offense you're going to beat Ohio State and Oregon with.
Well, we've talked about the distinction between professional athletes, 28 years old, multimillionaires and everything else, and the different standard for maybe a 20-year-old kid. And I was struck by Drew Aller after 3 quarters of evidence of not playing well in a big spot for him to rise up. I thought that was impressive, but so too was it when it felt like everything had shifted against Oregon in that stadium for them to rally the way they did and pull that game out. I think that Aller wasn't the best quarterback by the end of the night. And so I wonder what that does to Aller's stock as a first-round draft pick coming up in 2026. He certainly will be, but how high up in the ranks?
Wait, Drew Aller's a first-round pick?
Oh, there are people who consider him to be the best quarterback in the class. There were people as late as Saturday night while that game was going on saying he is going to end up being the first overall pick next spring. There are a lot of people advocating for him, certainly in Pennsylvania, on the western side of the country specifically. What did you make, though? Because I saw you talking about this, and it made me laugh, too. The mentions of the whiteout. And then I heard them talking about, like,
what's a whiteout?
It's got to be intimidating. It's got to be if you're the visitors, this has got to be intimidating. Why would it be intimidating what the crowd is wearing? Who cares? I mean, if they're armed, that would be something. But I mean, what color T-shirt they're wearing is going to intimidate me? I mean, what a reach, right? Who gives a crap about the whiteout?
Did you see all the game day crew was in white too? They're all wearing white.
Yes, I don't get any of it. I hate to be a curmudgeon about it, but who gives a good goddamn?
So for those Oregon fans that were there, and again, Oregon's very loud. You should go to the Oregon game in 2 weeks, Dave. If you can make it work for your schedule, you'd have a lot of fun, I think.
Thanks.
Nonetheless, what I gather about being there is it's not even the noise per se. It's just 110,000 people all wearing the same color that make a lot of noise at once. And the environment is very intimidating. Which, by the way, Oregon had 0 false starts in the offensive line. They had 2 at tight end. I don't think Dante Moore threw a turnover-worthy pass that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, they just were unfazed. Even Dan Lance after the game, like that was not a 7-point. The Urban Meyer said too that she get 10 points for playing at a whiteout. It was aggressive, but again, it didn't bother Oregon.
What the hell am I missing? Who cares?
I think it's just 18 and 22-year-olds, man, and those things they bother a lot of teams. But Oregon had a game plan. Look, Dan Lanning is an exceptional coach. There's just no way about it. He's in his 4th year. His team has gotten better every season. His roster, he overhauled his roster. They do different things, but like he said, like it's 1,000 cuts, right, man? And then you cut the jugular. And Oregon had the right mindset to play in that atmosphere. I think other teams just might not, Dave, have the same mindset. But I
disagree with you, and here's why. Because John Madden said way back in the late 70s, Reggie Jackson, I'm pretty sure, said, if they ain't booing, they don't know who you are. And John Madden said, we want, when we take the field, to be booed. We want to be villains because that will help us rally together as a little group of pirates fighting against the rest of the world. I buy that. It makes you feel special. Look at what they had to do for us. That must mean we're real good. If you come out to a whiteout, they're not going to do that for Villanova. It kind of makes sense to me that it would inspire you if you're the Ducks. But either way, what is in the NFL? Is there such a thing as an intimidating environment? Did you ever feel like, oh man, the other team is already good enough, but now the fans?
Well, when those Heinz bottles fell down, Dave, and 3rd down, and the ketchup spilled out, I was always like, "Wow, I can't. This Pittsburgh environment just can't win here." That was 3rd down, right? I believe in Pittsburgh, right? The Heinz bottles fell over.
No, that was when the Steelers get into the red zone. The scoreboard would turn red with ketchup.
Okay, that's what it was.
Digital ketchup pouring into the scoreboard.
With the 3rd down when like the steel worker had a sledgehammer.
That's
what it was. Okay, yeah, that's what it was. I remember all this. Like Washington State, there would be just like a chainsaw would rip off. Or that was Oregon State. Washington would have everyone has like their thing for 3rd down. No, it's just noise, right? Like so, Seattle, New Orleans, Kansas City. Like when Houston's surprisingly very loud. When here's what the noise does, Dave. You just can't think. Right? Like, and then when things start spiraling a little bit, it's hard to gather your thoughts, It's hard to communicate with the person next to you. There's never an environment that I was like, oh my God, I'm playing here. I thought it was
What are we going to do, guys? These fans are so loud.
I thought it was very cool, like to play Lambeau. Like I thought it was fun. Like the history, like you see the lower bowl, right? Then they add obviously the upper bowl on top of it. Like you see the history of, I like playing those type of places. But there wasn't a place, even in college, I was like, oh my God. And look, as a team too, you embrace playing on the road.
That's what I'm saying. You embrace
like having to win in that atmosphere. Especially a little more in college than the NFL, because the NFL atmosphere is just very, and they're mostly not college football. You're not going to find 100,000 people in an NFL stadium cheering like the Penn State fans were. But and the thing too, like the last one was like what I appreciate about some of the places, especially Seattle, is in Kansas City a little bit too, is like they knew when to cheer, Dave. It's important to know that. Like they just knew exactly when to do it. And some places just have no idea. They just like 1st and 10, loud as possible. No. You have to build up to 3rd down. Don't waste your time on 1st down. So, but no, I was never like, I couldn't play anywhere. It's too loud.
That's a great power move that I don't think it's getting late in the day for Dave to be a starting quarterback in an NFL or even a college football stadium and quieting the crowd down, the home crowd. That's a great move to step up to the line of scrimmage in a big spot. And the crowd's so excited, you have to keep it down. I gotta orchestrate everybody. I gotta orchestrate. We talked about the Chargers, and we've talked in broader strokes about the Jenga theory, that if you remove the wrong piece, the whole thing's going to implode. We agree, I think, that the Niners now have a lower ceiling because Nick Bosa's out. We talked about it a few weeks ago when Rashawn Slater got hurt for the Chargers. They moved Joe Alt over to left tackle. You surmised that they should be able to survive this. They're dinged from this. But then Joe Alt on Sunday goes out against the Giants. What's that like? It's a high ankle sprain, it sounds like right now, and so that means he'll be back at some point during the regular season. But what's that like in the middle of a game? If you consider, let's say in the quarterback league, the QB is your control group. Like if you lose your starting quarterback and have to go to your backup mid-game, that takes you from a 10 down to a 1 in terms of chances to win. I know that sounds extreme. What is the equivalent sort of, you lose your left tackle, like how does that impact your play calling in the game and what you're able to do? And is it sort of like, is everybody in the huddle like, well, we're screwed now. We don't have our left tackle. That's a premium position.
Yeah, we just give up normally. We just give up. I think.
Well, I could see the offensive coordinator being like, well, we've got to throw away a third of the playbook now.
No. Here's I think when you lose one guy, you're fine. But now the Chargers down 2 guys. So, like, for example, you have Joe Alt in this game, and you're playing the Giants, and you have a backup right tackle, right? And who's played a lot of football, but you think to yourself, okay, I'm going to help the right tackle in this game. You typically can't help both tackles. You can. Then you have less guys to go out on the routes. Like, you would ideally help nobody and have 5 guys out in the route concept, then leave 2 guys in, and then you have 3, right? There's less defenders, less offensive players to spread the field out. There's more defenders, right? Like, you're not going to complete a lot of passes if you only let 3 guys out in a route concept. And so you say, okay, we'll chip on the right side, we'll help the right side, we'll get 4 guys out, and Joel will be by himself. Now Joel goes out. Shoot. Now we got to help the left tackle now too. Like, you don't build, there's a common misconception with this stuff, Dave, where you don't just typically add protection stuff in a game. You go into a game with it, and you don't add chips, you don't add help. That has to be practiced during the week.
Right.
You just don't add, like, people just add a chip. It doesn't work like that. You have to practice the timing of that in practice to make it work. Otherwise, it's pointless to do in a game. Actually going to screw with the offensive tackle more. If again, like a quarterback, a lot of route concepts, right, include 2 or 3 or 4 even in a route. They're all designed to do something, and the defense reacts a certain way. Well, now if you keep a tight end in, and you practice all week with a 3-man route concept, now it's a 2-man route concept, not the same thing, right? So, like, that's why you can't just, like, throw guys in to help offensive linemen in the middle of a game. So you're kind of screwed.
And also you have, and just in terms of personnel, 53-man on game day, you have a swing tackle available to you? So
ideally you have 1 swing tackle, 1 interior guy. Now, I think that the swing tackle interior guy, it's much tougher now because there's less practice. They're just not as ready to play. And I think it's really bad when a team has 1 guy out and then moves another guy in the middle of the game to that position and then puts another. So now you basically have 2 spots with backups, right? Instead of 1 spot with backups. Now, in a team like the Eagles, right, you lose Lane Johnson. Again, you lose 1 guy, you can figure it out, right? You chip the right tackle. But again, like losing 2, which basically the Steelers, the Chargers have done, is a really tough ask. Justin Herbert's been pressured.
Got the Steelers on his brain. I love it.
It's all the Steelers stuff behind you.
Don't be sorry, friend. I'm happy to go in that direction if you want.
Steelers plus 270 to win the division. It's crossed my mind today, Dave. To make.
I don't know if you heard that the Ravens are 1-3 now, man. They're in some legit jeopardy because of the injuries. I mean, this isn't going away with Matabike down.
It's not.
They're getting sort of devastated here to the point of no return.
And the schedule is loosens up, at least for them. The Steelers being plus 7 in turnovers the last 2 weeks and winning by 3 and 7 is like the most Steelers thing of all time. Like they should be winning these games by 14 points when you're plus 7 in turnovers. But nonetheless, Chargers offensive line, huge. Herbert's been pressured on 45 dropbacks the last 2 weeks, most in the NFL.
I'm curious to see what becomes of these Chargers in the next month or so, if they can resolve that issue until Alt gets back. But in the meantime, the team chasing them now and close the gap a little bit are your Kansas City Chiefs. I think you thought that the game was going to go this way, right? Did you not anticipate a Chiefs victory? Matt Verderam, our mutual pal, did pick the Chiefs to win this one. I thought the Ravens were going to get this. I didn't foresee the injuries in game that were then heaped on top of what they were already dealing with. So I don't know how much you can really take away from this, except I saw you buzzing on social media that you feel like at minimum Mahomes and that offense kind of turned the corner.
Yeah, so we have this this thing we do in sports, Dave, where so you're the Chiefs offense, you're playing a bad Ravens defense, and the Chiefs play well. And it's the Ravens defense. Well, if they're that bad, you should play well. If you're a good team, you should play well, right? Like that's what should happen. And that's good. That's a good thing. How many times does a team play someone that's worse than them and they play down to that opponent, right? The Ravens defense is beat up, and the Chiefs probably had their best offensive game in 2 years. How many times have the Chiefs played a team with a bad defense and scored 17 points the last 2 years? Mm-hmm. Like they looked much better. I thought the end of last game with Thorin taking a little top off just got Mahomes a little more confident. Worthy came back, difference maker, and the offensive line played really well. Again, Matabuke is not there, Vino is not there, but they protected Mahomes well. He got comfortable. I was a little. Some of the play calling still the shotgun runs frustrate the heck out of me. They did the dang shovel pass again for the 100th time. Shocking, the Ravens were not fooled in the low red zone. The shovel pass, but then when he started just to open up the playbook, throw deep. Mahomes looked so comfortable, man, and it was a very impressive, just offensive game. I thought that they really did a good job.
Yeah, the concern about the Ravens isn't limited to just the injuries. No. I do think the glass half full for me takeaway of that game is Xavier Worthy makes a massive difference for that offense, and just in time with Kelsey on the fade there. Do you, I mean, by the way, just have to shout it out. We don't have to spend time on this other than to say Dak Prescott is playing about as well as anybody is right now. Keep in mind, he didn't have CD Lamb against the Packers. It's hard to explain away the Packers giving up 40 to the CD Lamb-less Cowboys. I think that's disconcerting. I think they'll right that ship. But let's go out to Dublin, Ireland, and get your reaction to that. And again, it's Carson Wentz. He looked like Carson Wentz in a couple of spots. That was no good. But I keep referring to the 2015 Denver Broncos and that formula and why that worked. If you can be stout defensively, stout-ish in the 21st century, and run the ball and ask of your quarterback to make a couple of special plays. That's what Peyton Manning gave the Broncos, whatever that was, a decade ago now. And I think Aaron Rodgers is capable of that. The mistake would be expecting him to do more than that on a consistent basis. How say you?
I didn't think about that comp. It's interesting comp, right? Where you have a defensive-led team. Remember, Manning missed like 10 games that year. They were talking about Osweiler keeping that job.
That's right.
And then he just couldn't throw the ball. Now, Rodgers' arm is much better than Manning's was at that stage of his career. The thing is, like, is your defense going to play that well? It struggled early on this season, right, Dave? It allowed 30 points twice. And then it played a Vikings team without their quarterback. And Carson Wentz has like a sundial as a head clock for when rushers are coming. I mean, guys, he can't hold the ball longer if he wanted to. That is a formula, and especially if you get a home playoff game, which is possible. You win that home playoff game, like you're one away. Like you're so it's possible, I think, but that has to be the blueprint. And I just don't let me see it against a real competent offense.
I hear you. And ultimately, sorry to be a curmudgeon Steelers fans, I think I still would rather have taken Jackson Dart. I think he looked awful good in his first go-round. How say you on that? How many will we look back? This could have really been on the jerk list, as a matter of fact, but we save it for you. Are you ready to say right now that 25 teams or however many it was that passed on Jackson Dart made a mistake, or that a vast majority of them should have grabbed Jackson Dart with him sitting on the board?
He played like 3/4 of one game. I think we could hold her.
All right, but he looked good, didn't he, against a good defense?
He looked fine in the early scripted part of the game, which is a credit to Brian Daboll. And then he was just, I think, okay the rest of the game. Now, to be fair, he lost Malik Neighbors. He threw for 111 yards. Like, let's take a deep breath. but Neighbors going out is a huge loss for them. And then he hurt his hamstring too, right? So I don't know what his status is this week.
He went back into the game.
Yeah.
They put Russ in, and we're like, oh, yeah. That's how the backup looks now. Yeah, get back to the kid.
And then I think I saw like Russ throw like one swing pass. Like, yep, that's Russell Wilson for you. Look, he just gave the life to the Giants. He just gave him life. He gave him hope. The thing about Pittsburgh, I've argued this. I know we're on the same page on this. Is that there's no hope for 2026. Like you're playing this year to win a Super Bowl, you're not good enough, and then next year you have to reset the quarterback position again.
Well,
it's a good draft, don't get me wrong, but now you're a year older with Watt. You're older with Hayward. Like it's just like these pieces on defense are getting older, and this year feels like, in the grand scheme of things, the throwaway year for Pittsburgh when they could have tried to do a little bit more at that quarterback position.
The only way this would work is kind of what you alluded to. They'd have to get the number 1 seed, and that seems awfully unlikely with the Buffalo Bills looming there.
Yep.
Hey, the Jacksonville Jaguars are officially a factor, as I forecasted they would be. Now they get the Chargers, they get the Chiefs. They could end up having a huge role, not just in their own division, but in what happens in the West. Hey, Geoff Schwartz, you're the tops, pally. Can't wait to talk to you next week to get right for the Ducks. Live in fear. You're living in fear.
Buddy,
wear your hat. I don't care. What do I care about your dumb hat? Oh, I'm intimidated. What if the whole stadium? What if everybody in Autzen wears that stupid green hat? Oh my God, it could be worth 10 points to the Ducks.
Dave, I'm just telling you right now.
Yeah.
I'm not fearful about that game at all.
Okay, good. I'm glad you aren't. Good. What a creep. Good. Maybe you'll be afraid once it's over. You'll be afraid that you're not going to make the playoffs after you lost by 4 touchdowns to Fernando Mendoza. There he goes, everybody. Geoff Schwartz is smarter than you. All right, there goes Schwartz, fellas, and here we go, too, but we have a couple of minutes. Final thoughts on Week 4. I'm going to start with you, Mike. How say you? Or Gino. Go ahead.
All right. We got to take it all the way back to Thursday. I think that Seahawks defense is for real. I think they might be the best defense in the league. Now, granted, the Cardinals offense, not all that good, but that being said, I've seen 4 weeks of football so far, and that Seahawks defense is legit.
And MVP Sam Darnold.
I mean,
yeah, Sam Darnold
we mess with Bradley all the time.
Very well.
He's great. He's perfect for the Clint Kubiak offense.
Yeah. He's still got some of that
yards,
KOC
1 touchdown,
stink.
0. He's great.
Look at what KOC does for everybody. And by the way, let's not forget that he had Danny Dimes in the fold at the tail end last year. Coincidence? I don't think so. But now, Mike Fuentes, you have the Colts with a strike in the L column, and the Jags are tied with them for the division lead.
Okay, I have 2 takes, honestly. One, I can't believe the Jags are 3-1. I think Trevor Lawrence is out there actively trying to lose games.
Without their wide receivers.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. But also, here's a hot take I had last week, and it doesn't look so good now that they lost. The Colts are just as good as the Bills as long as he's Indiana Jones and not Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes, leave that in New York. That's over there. That's bad. We don't want that. We want Indiana Jones. As long as he's Indiana Jones, they're better than the Bills. They have a better running back. They have a better offensive line. They have a better defense. They have better receivers. The only thing they have that's better is Josh Allen.
Yeah, but 4 weeks in, the Colts should have lost to the Broncos on that field goal weirdness, but then they should have beaten the Rams on Sunday if not for A.D. Mitchell. So I think they're right where they should be. Here's the great question with the Jags. Are they about to be 3-3? Because they go Chargers, Chiefs, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll either get their comeuppance or they'll prove themselves to be an actual Super Bowl contender. I don't know, Super Bowl contender, but at least in play, the AFC South is in play for them. Let's talk about the NFC West before we wrap it up, because that's Thursday night football and it's a real good one. The 2 probably high-end coaches, or at least that was the conversation a half a decade ago, was either McVay or Shanny, and it does seem like between them, their disciples are now spread all over pro football. The Rams have generally, or I should say, why can't I ever keep this straight? Does Shanny own McVay or does McVay own Shanny? Moot point here, because I do like the Rams quite a bit so long as Stafford is healthy. He showed you why. The Niners feel like a mess. I'm going to lay the 4.5 and say the Rams get the win at home by a touchdown. How say you, Gino?
I think you're right. I think San Francisco's just torn up by injuries. They've been ravaged. They lost Nick Bosa. I can never get the Bosas right, by the way. I don't know which one is Joey, which one is Nick.
Joey Bosa looks like
Buffalo,
he would be named Joey Bosa more than any other person could be named Joey Bosa. Look him in the face. That guy's name has to be Joey Bosa.
Anyway, the Rams offense, when Stafford gets going and when Puka's right, I don't think anyone can stop them. So I think it's the Rams, and they're probably going to win by a touchdown or more.
Yeah, I think the 49ers their offense is completely out of whack. Now you got Pearsall dealing with a thing. Brock Purdy looked bad, turned the ball over 4 times against what I think is a bad Jags
There
team.
is no way that McCaffrey holds up the entire season.
Yeah, and now you have, even though you'll probably get a lot more 49er fans in LA than you will Rams fans, because that's just the way it is in California. I think
they
the Rams,
turn out.
Yeah, they really do. And I think the Rams are just too good, though. And I think Matt Stafford is still doing it at 37. So, I got to go with the Rams on that.
And just like that, we're off of week 4 and on to week 5. We'll get you right even further by the end of the week on Football America Friday. We appreciate you checking it out, spreading the good word, consuming it. However you decide to choose, if you want to watch it, we're on YouTube. If you want to listen to it, Spotify and Apple, all the rest of it. Thanks so much to Jonathan Zaslow and Geoff Schwartz. And thanks to you, Football American. Until next time, it's been a thin slice of heaven.